Hi, my name is Tracey Soghrati, and this is an introduction to Yin Yoga as a tool of yoga therapy. So we're going to do a really simple practice today, introducing you to the principles of Yin Yoga. And as we move through the postures, I'll give you a sense of how the way that you practice Yin Yoga results in stress and anxiety relief, which is what all of us need the most right now. So for our practice today, all I've done is roll up 3 blankets. Okay, so I wanna give you some tools that you can easily execute at home. So the only props I'm using are just these 3 blankets that I've rolled up, and they're all of different sizes. This is the smallest one. Okay, so this practice, this particular tool is accessible to any kind of body, any person. And what we want to really have in mind as we come into this style of yoga is to approach ourselves with love and compassion, okay? And so that starts with setting an intention, right? If you're coming to this practice for stress relief, then setting your intention might look like, I am going to complete this practice feeling relaxed and calm. Okay? So when you have your intention, just repeat it in your mind. And then we'll go ahead and begin our practice. So I'm going to ask you to take one blanket, a small one. And you'll see I've just set it behind me, and I'm just going to sit my bum up on top of the blanket. And once you sit your bum there, you'll notice that you've got these sort of 2 little bones in your bum, and they'll just be coming off the edge of the blanket, and all that does is it allows your pelvis to fold forward. So when you fold, you're not folding from your back. And then from here, I'm just going to take both of my blankets, my other 2 rolls, and I'm going to slide them under my knees. Okay? And I'm just going to fix them there by letting my knees come down on them. My feet are hip distance apart, my toes are soft. Now the first principle of this practice is that you come into whatever shape you're going to come into, very slowly, very carefully, with caution, softly. You're finding your edge, and you're recognizing that every day is different, every moment is different, so there's no expectations or preferences around where your body will go. Okay, so we're gonna fold forward, and we're not trying to elongate the back or not round the back or worry about the head. We're just gonna drape the body forward. And as you drape the body forward, you can just let the head hang. But if that bothers you, you could also take your arms and just rest your arms on your shins and let your forehead rest on your hands. So from this place, we really want to learn the language of our bodies. And I'm just going to lift my head so you can hear me, but you can keep your head sort of pointed down or the head hanging. So as you learn the language of your body and the subtleties and the nuances, what's critical initially, especially if this is new for you, is to approach yourself with a particular attitude. And that mindful attitude can be remembered through the acronym COLE. So curious and compassionate. So you're in your body and you're sensing it, you're feeling it, and you're curious and compassionate. The O in COLE stands for open. So there's an openness to the experience. You're open to whatever message your body is trying to send you. And sometimes that message is, oh, you could go further. And sometimes that message is, no, you need to come back up a little bit. Whatever it is, you're open to it. The A stands for accepting. You're welcoming the information that your body gives. And that means that there is no expectation or preference. And L stands for loving. So whenever you notice that your mind goes into judgment or self-criticism, which it will, I mean, it does for all of us, you're simply going to notice it and then bring yourself back to the present moment by sending a loving message to yourself. Okay. So we're just going to slowly come out of this posture. You're going to very, 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 very slowly lift up. And when you lift up, you can either close the eyes, but if that doesn't feel right, you can just gaze at the floor and sense your body. And I'll walk you through what that means. It means tuning into feelings of lightness, heaviness, heat, cold, tingly, lack of sensation. You're just noticing it all with that attitude that we talked about. Okay. So from here, to go into our next posture, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that blanket that's under my bum and I'm going to move it up to the top of my mat. Okay. And then these blankets are going to stay here, and I'm just going to bring my hips to those blankets. Okay, and if this is too high, you could always use one. My legs stretch out, they're open, maybe as wide as my mat. And then I'm using this blanket for a pillow, my arms open wide, and I just rest them back. And this is a really beautiful hip flexor release. And then as you stay here, the second principle is that when we come into any posture, we allow ourselves to find stillness. Now, stillness is not rigidity or bracing, okay? If we're bracing, and you can even think about the way that you're holding yourself against the floor right now. Are you letting your weight fall into the blankets and into the support that you have under your back, or are you resisting it somehow? And the other piece is that we want to refrain from reactive fidgeting, right? So we're allowing ourselves to come into this place of stillness so that we can sense the body and then begin to also sense the breath. The mind, our psychology, our thoughts, and our emotions are so intimately linked to the way that we breathe and the stories that we tell ourselves about the sensations we have in our bodies. And so this can be a really effective practice for just experiencing the breath and the body, the sensations, in this place of stillness without creating any stories about what those experiences might mean. And then as you allow your body to remain still, and by virtue of the shape of the positions you're taking, in this case the head lower than the heart, right? The respiratory rate, your breathing rate, your heart rate will naturally slow down. And that's the body's way of telling your brain to relax. It's one method. Right? So this stillness really facilitates you being able to relax the amount of nervous system arousal that you're experiencing. So as you stay here with yourself, notice sensation, but also notice the breath without trying to change it. If you notice you're judging it, approach yourself with curiosity, compassion, openness, acceptance, and loving kindness. So together here, let's take a deep breath in. And then breathe out. Bend the knees so that the soles of the feet come to the floor. And then just move those blankets forward. And then from here, the feet be as wide as the mat and just let your knees fall together. You're just taking time to digest your experience, to appreciate spending time with yourself. So from here, we're going to roll to one side and then press one palm into the earth to lift your body up. And we're going to do a posture that I think is really lovely, especially since so many of us are on computers now. So I'm just opening a blanket and I'm spreading it out over my mat so it's just a little bit wider. And then I'm just moving these blocks so that I have more space. Okay. The other blanket will come forward because I may want it between my knees. Okay. So from here, I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to lie against the floor, but my left hand is going to be out to the side like this, palm down. Okay, so palm is on the floor, left hand, and then I'm bringing the left side of my body down. Okay. Now, this will be more intense the more you roll onto your left side. It will be less intense the closer your chest is to the floor. Some of you might find that you want a blanket under your head. Likewise, others will find that a blanket between the knees feels really nice. So the third principle to this practice is time. We spend time here. Now, depending on your body, what's happening in your life, the amount of time you have, all of those factors, you could be in each posture for a minute or 5 minutes, some even longer. It really depends on the somatic or felt experience that you're having. Now, part of the reason that we spend time in these postures is so that on your mat, you can learn to anchor yourself to the present moment. Remembering that for a ship, an anchor keeps the ship steady despite the weather. And learning to anchor your attention to the present moment for a period of time, initially 1 minute, then 2 minutes, then 5 minutes, it keeps you very steady in any kind of storm that might happen in your life. Whether that's internal, right, inside your mind, or external in the environment around you. And some people, again, might want to regress the movement by moving the chest towards the floor. You could also progress the movement by pointing the top knee up and stepping the foot back. I just caution if you feel anything in your low back when you do this, then that might not be the right move for you in this moment. So to move out of this posture, we're going to just take one full and deep breath and then very gently release that breath. You can take the blanket out from between the thighs if you have it there and just roll onto the belly, turning the head to either side, just allowing yourself to really settle, digesting the experience. For our final posture today, we're just going to do the other side. Now you can stay where you are. I'm just going to move my blanket so that I can face you as I'm speaking. Okay. So the same thing, the blanket is spread out. I'm going to take my right arm out to the side, palm faces down. I'm going to lie on my right side. Okay. And I'm going to slide the blanket between my knees, and you might notice if you didn't have a third blanket, I forgot mine at the other end. I just can roll the mat down towards me to give me just a little bit of support. Don't expect the right and left sides to be the same. They won't be. You know, you're dominant in one hand to use the right and left sides of your body quite differently. And so it's very typical for you to be asymmetrical in terms of your tension. The fourth principle of this practice is integration. So when using this particular tool of yoga and yoga therapy, every time we come out of a posture or complete a practice, we take just a little bit of time for ourselves to integrate or to digest, to metabolize the experience we've had. And there's so many different ways that can look. So experiment with yourself. You know, some people come out of a posture and their way of digesting the experience is to move a little bit. Their body is asking them to move. And so you can ask your body what it needs when you come out. You know, at first you might feel silly and you might not have an answer, but try different things so you can get a sense of what you need and how to meet your own needs. Other people need to just stay in stillness. There isn't a right way to do it. Okay, there are so many ways. But universally, we take the time to really digest our experiences in this practice when we complete each pose and each practice. So to finish this side, let's take one deep and full breath. And then when you're ready, you just press the left palm into the earth and slowly bring now the right arm forward. So you can go ahead and just relax your body against the floor. Ask yourself that question: is there anything that my body needs right now? Do I need to lie on my back? Do I need to move? I'm going to slowly sit up just to end our time together. If you have any questions about this practice, you can always email me. It's Tracey at Soghrati, SOGHRATI yoga yoga.com. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I really hope that we've given you some tools that you can use to mitigate your stress or any tension and anxiety that you might be feeling. Thank you.